Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. So guys, the team over at AGS has been hard at work before the launch of the new Fresh Start servers and have released patch 1.7.1. It is a small one, but there are a few things that they have changed that are big. So let's get into it. So the New World Update 1.7.1 downtime will begin at 11 PM PT or 6 AM UTC on November 1st. So for the world experience, notable fixes. The Castrum Principum spawn rate has been adjusted to better match other elite mobs, because as you know in this region, the spawns were so crazy that they were respawning so fast that even Zergs couldn't keep up with it, and chest runs here were just aggravating. It's so good to see this fixed. They fixed an issue that made Helvin, the Navigator, and Monarch's Bluff unbeatable. They fixed an issue which caused players to get stuck at weird angles when opening the inventory while going prone. For Brimstone Sands, Tomash and Gazi now have additional dialogue to inform players they need to complete a selfless nature quest before access to the Brimstone Sands main story. This is a great change to see, and I'm glad they've addressed it. I can't tell you how many messages I got on Discord every single day from people asking me, how can I get into Brimstone Sands? There's no quest being offered to me to get into Brimstone Sands. What do I have to complete to start Brimstone Sands? It's really nice that they've addressed this so people have a little less friction when they're trying to get into Brimstone Sands. They updated the quest requirements for a selfless nature to ensure players are not blocked for the Blessing of the Earth quest. They removed the ability to place camps around the Brimstone Under Siege quest location. They reduced the amount of Ironhide received when skinning Valley Lizards. This was a change I was expecting, but a little sad to see. I really love skinning these little guys for all of the Ironhide that they gave. However, what I am curious about is did they remove the rares that they give, because I'm telling you guys, this is a crazy way to get rare hides. If they haven't yet, I'm sure they will soon. They fixed an issue with Daemon's Cauldron that caused players to get teleported back from the crystal. They fixed an issue that caused the damage barrier around Brimstone Sands to continue after death. They fixed an issue that caused the Brimstone Sands Outpost trading post to not link to storage. For quests, they fixed an issue that made faction rank-up quests unavailable. They fixed an issue that prevented players from completing the Overseer Zane encounter. The Hope Manifest, the Executioner, Tracking the Huntress, Falme's Wrath, and Keem Temper quests now immediately register as complete when the players craft the specified weapons. They fixed an issue that caused the Heartforge Guardian to not spawn in the Trial of the Heartforge quest. They re-enabled the Roar of the Manicore quest, and they re-enabled the Queen's Brood quest lines. For expeditions, for Dynasty Shipyard, they raised the keg health to make defending the objects less difficult to pass in high-level mutations. For combat and AI, the notable fixes were, they fixed an issue that sometimes caused the player to be unable to attack after harvesting until they perform the same gathering action or relogged. I am so glad to see this fixed, guys. This happens to me like 35 times a day or more. It's really annoying, and I'm so glad to see this fixed. They fixed an issue where certain abilities could not be performed without triggering their cooldowns. They fixed an issue that sometimes caused young Scorpions to fall through the world. For perks, they fixed an issue that caused Runeglass Gem perks to prevent Lifestaff perks from working. They added a speculative fix for Runeglass Taunt gems not working properly with Berserk, Riposte, and Defender's Resolve AoE taunts. They will continue to monitor the forums to see if players are still encountering this issue after the update. I really hope they get this one fixed this time, because all of the Runeglass problems have been really been taking the shine off of them. Like, Runeglass gems were so cool on the PTR, and then with all of the changes and things that have happened to them since, so much about them doesn't work, or they're just underimpressive, and people are just going back to regular gems. For game modes, the PvP arenas, they fixed an issue that caused some players to incorrectly receive a lever penalty when exiting 3v3 arenas. I had this happen to me 3 times in the last 2 days. And guys, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's so annoying. Because then you can't requeue when you want to, and you end up just logging out because it's just so frustrating. For wars and invasions, they fixed an issue that caused wars and invasions to sometimes fail to reschedule properly after server crashes. And for economy and progression, they added infused gypsum greatsword cast. I don't understand why they didn't add it originally, like throttling how fast people hit 600 gear score on their greatsword was just a silly way to slow the content to make it seem like there was more. I can tell you this was very frustrating. Because for them to do this, as well as make all of the named items drop always 590 and no longer give gear score bumps, was just really frustrating. As well as having no weapons coming from any of the chests right now, which they say is a bug, but it's a little bit of a convenient bug. It just felt like they were really trying to throttle how fast people got their greatswords to 600 gear score. They re-enabled Legendary Greatsword Rough Edge recipe to better match similar crafted greatswords. It is now bind on pickup instead of bind on equip. They re-enabled the Legendary Greatsword the Craftsman Passion recipe. Its final perk is now Angry Earthbane. And they fixed an issue that caused Brimstone Elite named enemies to not drop Obsidian Gypsum. For rewards and loot, Apophis Treasure Trove is now a reward in the God Awakens quest. Apophis no longer gives weapon mastery or experience on kill. The Desert Rose Prism Blooms now always grant 1 or 2 cyan pigments and 1 or 2 green pigments. Players also have a chance to receive 1 or 2 red pigments. For trade skills, Detonate Heart Gem recipes no longer require sapphire and instead require more sulfur. The Nightveil Gear Score 600 pattern no longer requires a trade skill level of 150. And they fixed an issue that made Nightveil patterns bind on pickup instead of bind on equip. For gathering, they reduced the quantity of the sulfur received from mining Sulfur Wink and Terrigen. This change I really am not a big fan of. There's not a lot of sulfur nodes to begin with, so a lot of us were farming our sulfur by killing the scorpion, so having them be basically like the wolves are for Wordwood is just kind of stupid. They reduced the amount of skinning experience gained from young scorplings and armadillos. I was really expecting this change, and I'm surprised it took so long. The way that they have armadillos right now, it seems like they want them to be like the rabbits of Brimstone Sands. So when they were giving like 1300 skinning experience per kill, it was a little much. For UI and notable fixes, they fixed an issue that caused the same item to show up multiple times in Outpost Rush Cache's reward screen. This was hilarious. I opened one Brimstone cache and it popped up and said I received 4 of the exact same legendary rapier. It was pretty funny. They fixed an issue that prevented latent characters from rejoining their original world if they were at the character limit for that world. Latent characters can now return to the original worlds even if those worlds are locked. For social, they updated the faction user interface and now directs players to the faction initiation quest to unlock faction switching. For the in-game store, they fixed an issue that caused the item purchase confirmation to not appear. And for quality of life, they fixed an issue that caused notifications to appear more than once on the landing screen. Thanks for your support and we'll see you in Eternum. So guys, a lot of changes in this patch considering it's so small. Having the scorpions give less sulfur, that one I don't really like so much, but most of the other ones overall I think are really good fixes and changes. I know some of you are really not going to like that they fixed the armadillos, but guys, we knew it was coming. Anyway guys, that's all for this video. I just wanted everyone to be aware of these changes. And as always guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.